Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? It is Saturday, December 7th, 2019. We have completed week 2 here at Roehl Get Your CDL program. This week was pretty exciting. We start out every day you're either going to spend half your day on the backing range or half your day in the truck, and then you switch. Started out Monday, went out driving, spent a lot of time driving around the town of Gary, swapping out. My instructor, Bart, plans his trips from truck stop to truck stop because he likes to, get snacks along the way. So, you drive about 45 minutes and then someone else in your group takes over and they drive. And then that evening we get back to the backing range, and it was the first time that we attempted to do the straight line backing, the offset backing, and the parallel parking. Up to this point, we've just been driving straight. So, the instructor will show you some techniques to help you set up, and then after that, you try to do it yourself. With little trial and error, we all managed to get it. If you think parallel parking a car is hard, you should try parallel parking 70-foot long semi. But it can be done. And so Tuesday, more of the same. Tuesday we went out, and it was more of a let's do practice turning. So we went in town and practiced making turns in busy intersections with traffic. It got us used to shifting and making sure that you pull out enough to where you don't curb your trailer. During the CDL test, that's an automatic failure. If your trailer tandems touch the curb in the middle of a turn, it's an automatic failure. And then that evening, more backing. Wednesday, more of the same, driving in the morning. That day, due to all the backing the 2 previous days, the truck needed a regen, so we took it up on the interstate to try to blow it out, more or less. One of my truck mates drove from Gary to Sawyer, Michigan, and I got to drive from Sawyer, Michigan back to Gary on the interstate. It's a whole different thing up on that interstate, especially when you've got an empty dry van trailer. More or less it's like a big sail behind you. The wind was pretty windy that day, and so it was a little interesting keeping it on the road. Thursday, more of the same, driving half a day, backing half a day. Friday, things kind of got a wrench thrown into the mix. Up to this point, we've lost 4 people from our class. On day 1, we lost a student. From what we hear, was he had lied on his application about a felony that would not have prevented him from getting hired had he been honest about it. We had another student have to go home to get some paperwork signed, but he is now back with us. We lost one due to medical issues. I guess he had a pre-existing injury and it flared up. And the other one, I believe, was just because he just didn't really listen to the instructor, was unsafe. Apparently a common thing for people is they have a hard time of realizing to back left, you got to turn right. And he just wasn't getting it. So that left one of the instructors with really no students. So since my whole group is doing fairly well, we got moved to him, and our instructor took over a student that had been sent home for the paperwork and was back, so that way he could have one-on-one training. New instructor also means new truck. We went from the Freightliner Cascadia to a International LT. And up until this point, we've been pulling the dry van, and now we had a flatbed, which is what all of us will be driving once we finish training. They teach you to drive with a dry van initially because it's a little bit longer, and at least in my opinion, now that we have the flatbed, it's after backing the dry van, the flatbed's really easy. And then today we had our half-a-day class. Throughout the training program, the first 3 weekends you have a class on Saturday. It goes over different things. Last weekend we learned the road atlas. This weekend was hauling hazardous materials. It's not for the endorsement, but sometimes you may be hauling hazardous materials even though it's not enough to warrant you to have a CDL permit or a CDL endorsement or placard. It's still enough to where your company needs to train you in, even if it's just 40 pounds of something, you need to be able to recognize the paperwork and how to handle it and the safety and security behind it. Then we discussed the CAS system, which is basically a federal ranking system that ranks companies and individual drivers on how safe they drive. After that, we had a brief introduction to load securement. Went outside and the instructor showed us how to slide tandems on a dry van or reefer. On week 4, after we pass our CDLs, we will take a load securement class. But this was just more or less to show us how to slide tandems. The one interesting thing about here at Roehl is if you are in the flatbed division, have been trained to be a flatbed driver and pass the physical requirements for a flatbed, you can haul dry van or reefer. However, if you're in the dry van or reefer divisions, you cannot haul flatbed. So if there's a slowdown in freight for flatbeds, we can haul the other two. Or sometimes they may have you haul one thing to get you to a flatbed load. If they don't have anything in the area you're in, they may give you a dry van and send you down the road, and that will get you to your flatbed load or to get you for your home time. But all in all, things are going great. Everybody back home, I hope you're doing well, and take care. And if you have any questions about the Get Your CDL program, feel free to leave some comments below. Would appreciate if you subscribed, and everyone have a great week. Thank you.